So Mangala started it, but it was halted. Now it has started again. But there is a major, powerful lobby to stop that from going through. So as chairman of the committee, it's been a struggle for me because on the one hand, some days they'll send us legislation amendments to remove para-tariffs, then the next day they'll send something to impose para-tariffs. So there is a contradiction in the system. So I have actually been fighting very hard, telling the government, tell me what your policy is, because I have the secretary sitting here of the Ministry of Finance, another secretary Ministry of Industry sitting there, and they don't see eye to eye. So industries has some other agenda, finance has another agenda. So one of the reasons that I get hammered sometimes mercilessly in the press is when I try to ask these questions as to what is your policy. So recently something that happened, I took it to the privileges committee also, is that the industries ministry wanted para-tariffs imposed on a whole bunch of things, whereas just previous or business was to remove para-tariffs of 300 items. So there's obvious contradiction, right? So there has to be alignment. Ministries can't have different policies. Para-tariff policy is one that has to be articulated by the top and the Ministry of Finance. And once the Ministry of Finance articulates that policy, Ministry of Industries or whoever else it is, Ministry of Health, Pharmaceuticals, whatever, will have to abide by, right? So the issue, Rohan, with the SDP Act, as Tilan very correctly pointed out, is there are no real guidelines. Another issue that probably most of you also saw the video clip when HCL Technologies came for a 16-year tax holiday, and 12 years after that, 50% of whatever tax that would exist at the time. I asked a simple question, what is the tax expenditure? And the chairman of the BOI had absolutely no idea. And he said, I'll check with them and come back to you. And I said, you know what? And that's what happened. And then subsequently he got fired. I also got fired. I got rehired. He didn't. But nevertheless, the good thing is the IMF has now imposed a condition that the tax expense has to be calculated, right? Once the tax expense is calculated, then there can be some debate even whether it should be given or not. And another recommendation is to, clear the regulatory muddle and corruption, is that the gazette cannot be imposed unless it is first approved in Parliament, which now is the other way around. The gazette is imposed, then it gets into, it is implemented, and without prejudice, if Parliament resolves to take it away, then it stops at that point. You see, so it is not that the legislature first approves it and then implements it. It's the other way around, which is kind of crazy. And the last point that I will bring to your attention is who has the power to change tax rates or remove or impose taxes or duties or levies. It is the legislature. In the Constitution, Article 148 very clearly says that full powers of public finance lies with the legislature. Now, recent event has questioned this, the constitutional power, where I have actually, stopped this thing from going through, is that the Port City Commission listed out about 200-300 items that would be made duty-free to be sold at the new downtown duty-free complex, which should also have a 25% tax holiday and also no payee, etc., no taxes at all, plus duty-free. So my question to the Commission was, who made this list? They said, we made the list. I said, who gave you the power to make this list? Well, the parliament has given us authority under the Port City Act to make rules. And with that authority to make rules, we have made a rule, and that rule is whether it be watches, washing machines, refrigerators, all of these things can be sold duty-free up to $5,000 per year for every Sri Lankan who comes from abroad, can go to Chennai and come back, or foreigners who come and want to buy these items without a limit, which, like you said, would create a distortion in the marketplace. Now, then we found out, we read the rules, and rules referred to community rules. I said, that means whether you're coming to my club after 6 o'clock, whether you have to wear collared t-shirts. Now the golf club has a new rule that you can't wear Chinese collar. I mean, those are the types of rules that they can, but not remove taxes by sort of writing up their own rules, which created a big complication, because the agency has already signed up with operators. Now, what has happened is that is in limbo. So when we wrote to the AG wrote me a 4-page letter saying who gave these people the authority to take out taxes of all these 200 items. So we have now directed them to rescind the gazette, which they did without coming to Parliament. So now that gazette will be rescinded in the next week or so. That creates a sort of a legal business continuity issue that needs to be resolved. So, Rehan, the problem is with this SDP, there are no guidelines, and it is under the SDP that even the Port City Commission gets its powers to remove all these existing taxes. And it is up to the politician to decide how long, right? I'm just referring to these companies because they've been in, it is public knowledge, right? A software company, should it be given 16 years tax holiday, right? Or some other company, like Thilan said, should it be given 25 years tax holiday? A new logistics company in the port. Who decides? On what basis? Right? So it is utterly complicated, and I totally agree with Thilan that we need to go to a simple and very clear, transparent mechanism where these people know what kind of benefits they are getting or not getting. It is not up to the discretion of the politician to decide.